Welcome back to Between Two Cars. Your host Kyle Orr and Matt the Walrus Maxwell.
I'm kind of more like a baby seal now.
No, I don't think you're in baby seal category yet, but
Maybe a black bear?
you keep working hard. The good news for you is that 2025 is around the corner. So it is time for you to be able to set your New Year's resolution.
I've lost 50 pounds, brother.
You have, I think, 54 days till New Year's. So
Yeah, and based on what happened this morning, I should be able to lose that pretty quick.
it should be pretty easy.
Yep, you better get that one, dog.
No, I told her I was busy. So
Okay, so, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And the main thing we're going to talk about is what? It's going to be Trump.
yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody's beating the same drum on that, but
Well, at least at least 300 votes or 300 electoral votes or whatever.
to keep it, I guess, equal for all sides, all parties involved, right? And probably a vast amount of people who watch our show who are on the right or the left. Nobody could say that Trump didn't,
Kick the shit out of her?
Didn't win, by a landslide. I mean, it's just.
All right, so what does that mean?
I've
Let's
never
debate
seen
that.
anything like that before.
But let's debate that on both sides. Let's talk about that because, we're reading. We kind of kept quiet about everything, which way we were voting and stuff, and we haven't really gone public about anything. We haven't put any posts out there or anything like that. But, we're both conservatives, and we both voted for Trump. Okay, but let's talk about.
I'm probably more a Trump conservative than I was a Republican before Trump.
Right. But let's talk about why it was such diversity. I mean, he didn't win by a little. I mean, the left thought they had it. I mean, if you went by
if I watched I don't watch TV. I only watch sports on TV. I did turn TV on whenever the election stuff was going on.
We heard a little bit ago what you watch.
I watch mainly podcasts.
DuckDuckGo. You need to get on there.
I do. My research is through DuckDuckGo, so I can.
Now, why is that? Because a lot of people don't know what DuckDuckGo is.
So DuckDuckGo it's been out for a while, but it is actually a search engine that you can search content.
And nothing's blocked.
And nothing is blocked.
It's kind of like X now.
Yeah, it also allows you to. It's supposed to be untraceable, so you don't get all the, the crazy ads and stuff like that where
You
they're
don't get the pop-ups.
The pop-ups and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool to research content and read and stuff like that.
That's twice in the last 4 minutes. You probably didn't answer that one.
So we took a brief intermission here. So
I had to go to the restroom.
Talking about Trump, right?
Yeah. What we're talking about is okay. Hey, here's my problem with the left. Okay, and let me tell you everybody something. My family grew up Democrats. My grandfather was an attorney, prosecuting attorney. He was a Democrat. He helped elect one of the presidents of the United States. There's a book written about him. Everybody knows all that stuff. So we grew up. We were the Democrat. We were part of the Democratic Party. But the Democratic Party back then was supposed to be about the people. That's what
So the Democratic environment that I grew up, because my mom and dad were both Democrats, and I have to believe today, or in my heart, if they were alive, they would have voted for Trump.
Oh, my grandfather turned over in his grave with what's going on.
Only because it's lost all its value. It became that party became the left became basically too liberal, right? And so
I want to talk about
where
that
I think they lost the election.
Yeah.
If I pinpoint, they were focusing on everything that didn't matter to people.
Well, yes and no. I think they forgot something, and what they forgot is first off they focused on this. They focused on hating Trump. It was all about hating Trump. Trump, I hate Trump. I hate Trump. I hate the way he talks. I hate Trump. They didn't look at it Here. I don't agree with some of the things that he says. Okay, sometimes the guy just needs to shut up. Okay, he just goes too far. His ego's out there, and I get that. When you run a business and you build a business, a multi-billion-dollar thing is what he's had, and yes, he did. He didn't get it from his dad. His dad gave him some money, yes, but he had to build it, and he built it to an empire that it is today. I mean, so he's got a little bit of an ego. So I get that. That's tough for some people to take.
He's got an alter ego in his office.
But,
So, I mean, J.D. Vance is good. That's good for Trump.
Let me tell you something. Trump is probably one of the best, brilliant businessmen in the world.
Right.
Okay, he just is. And I know people don't like some people that are successful. I get all that stuff. Everybody needs to get over that. The reason America was all about, hey, everybody has an opportunity. Everybody has an opportunity to become successful. Doesn't matter. Everybody, doesn't matter what color you are. Doesn't matter if you're white, black, woman, orange, yellow. If you work hard, and you do the things and you're disciplined, you're gonna have opportunities. Now, some of those opportunities might be a little bit tougher than somebody else, but some people just have more talent than somebody else.
Well, and here's the other thing too, because there's a lot of Republicans that don't like Trump, right?
Well, they don't because he attacks, and I get that. But you know what?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I saw go down, because there are a lot of Republicans that don't like Trump, right? Because he kind of speaks his mind on issues and things like that. And that's all fine. But I believe the reason why they voted for him is over the course. Let's just start from the very beginning when he got in office, right? He's been under so much scrutiny, right? They have tyrannized his family. They have tried to shoot him. They have, put him in legal suits. Something that was, when I grew up, you never saw a president undergo any kind of environment like that, right? And they just keep throwing bullets. They've never given him a free, where he has the attention of the American people. And I don't know if that's, mainly caused from him, or if he knows something about dirty politics that they're afraid of him.
Well, first off, let's just be real. The government of the United States is corrupt.
100%. Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're Republican, doesn't matter if you're Democrat. The government of the United States is corrupt. It's ran by big business. It's ran by money, and they people, unfortunately, right, are influenced by how much money they have, right, or make, or maybe they do something stupid and somebody's got them on tape, and so they get blackmailed and they have to vote this way or do that way, and that's all wrong. I mean that's all bad stuff. So you got a guy that's a multi-billionaire that isn't getting, doesn't. I mean, he's got his own money. He's not being paid by the establishment, and that's telling.
Well, he can't be bought.
Right. So he's telling the establishment, "Hey, you're wrong," and the establishment doesn't like it because the other billionaires, the pharmaceutical owners, the owners of big companies and stuff like this, who are getting subsidized. How do you say that word?
Subsidized.
Yeah. So, stuff and been getting paid. They're paying off the lobbyists and everything like that to get so the Congress will pass laws so they get tax breaks and money. It's all corrupt.
Well,
and the problem is what we're not doing is we're not taking care of America first, and that's what he's saying.
A big thing for me too is people are afraid to educate themselves. They are. I mean, it's a common practice. So, I
don't know if they're afraid. They won't take the time.
They just don't take the time
to be disciplined on it.
Unless it's on TikTok. I am not on TikTok. I think I'm on TikTok. I don't get on TikTok. But my wife is on there. I mean, she's on there a lot, right? She gets a lot of information and she shares it with me, and that's fine. Whatever. But I prefer to read. I mean, what's wrong with reading books and reading articles? And if you're going to be against something, you got to read. Like, I don't just read conservative type news. I read a liberal side news, and then I make a decision. It's just like these laws that come out, right? People don't read all 34 pages of it and try
No.
to understand what's going
No,
on.
well, it's just like
They only read what the ad is, and that ad is generally to try to benefit a certain sector of people, right? Generally, a very small portion. But
Well, look at the Proposition 3 in Missouri that passed.
yeah,
When I went to the ballot, now I'm just going to tell you something. I'm Catholic, okay? I am a devoted Catholic, okay? And I do not agree with abortion. I don't agree with it at all, okay? And I agree with my faith. So I'm going to throw that out there. So this proposition comes up, and when we've talked to Brecken about this, and Brecken's has pitched his argument with it, but the proposition comes out and says, okay, hey, if you read it, right, which a lot of people didn't, and they didn't put this on the TV, that you can actually have an abortion right now, that it passed. So now the state of Missouri, you can have an abortion up to the 9th month, okay? And now you can also, a person, we'll just say a person, at any time, doesn't need parental consent, can go to the doctor and have get all if they want to be a different, if a man wants to become a woman, can get medicines prescribed to them without parental consent. So if you're 8 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, if you can afford it, you can go in there and you can get drugs that are going to help you change your body, I guess is the best way to put that. So how is that a positive thing
so let me key into this thing, okay?
for the state,
Let me key into this
for the
thing.
human being, I guess.
Well, I want to key into that just for a second or two. If you take the killing or the decision to take somebody else's life, which is in the 9th month, that's what's happening, right?
Well,
Take that out of it. So an 8, a 9, a 12-year-old, they go in and they make these decisions, right? At 8 years old, I got to think back, I mean, your memory doesn't really start clicking until you're about 5, is what they say.
well, 8 years old, you're confused with life anyway.
So at 8 years old, you're going to tell me that you can make a life-altering decision. Like, it's going to be with you the rest of your life, right?
State of Missouri, you can.
Yeah. So you're going to make a life-altering decision.
Right.
That
So
at some point, you may or may not regret, right? But you can't serve in the military.
can't buy liquor.
You can't buy a drop of alcohol. You can't buy cigarettes. You can't drive an automobile, right? You can't serve in the military of the United States. I mean, so at that point, if you just take the actual action out of it and then worry about the real human being, which is that person that's going to have to make that decision and answer for their decision someday. They're going to have to answer to somebody or themselves someday, right? I've done a lot of things that I regret. When I was young, I didn't think they were stupid when I did them. Somebody else told me they were stupid, and I did them anyways, right? But now you're taking out a piece of growing up, right? Your parents and your coaches and your teachers and your preachers and the people you look up, grandma and grandpa and stuff, the reason they become valuable in your life is because when you're about to make a bad decision or a decision they don't agree with, they check you. They put you in check, right? And regardless, you get a chance. You're basically taking a piece off of the chessboard and allowing them to roam free outside the chessboard. So, do I believe that women should have rights? Yeah, I believe they have a lot of rights. Okay? Do I believe there's certain circumstances where abortion could come in play? I think it's a very, very minute situation.
Well, Missouri had the deal. If it was medical, where it's going to hurt the mother, right? Or it's going to kill the baby, and they needed to abort. They had to do that. They still had there was. It wasn't like it was black and white. But here's the problem. All right, so you know and I'm not sitting there pointing the finger and blaming anybody because I made mistakes too, and I've made the same mistakes. Okay, but I guess when you get older, you realize those mistakes, and then you start realizing how wrong they were, and that's what you're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. But we're going to sit there and we're saying that now, okay, so
who are those people going to look up to, right? When government has stepped in and made those people unimportant to somebody else, when they said, "Hey, you don't have to ask mommy or daddy, you don't have to consult with grandma or grandpa to make a decision that could be life altering," what do you think's going to happen in 10 years when they're 18 years old? Who are they going to go through? Are they going to reflect back and go, "You know what? Grandpa told me not to touch the fire, and I did touch the fire, and it burnt," right? And, maybe this situation where I get some of his wisdom about what went on, they're not going to think that way. The human brain doesn't think that way. They think, how far can I get away with what I can get away with that makes me feel good at the time?
I got a question that I just popped in my head. I want us to think about this. So, the American culture is one of the only cultures in the world to where when I had this conversation with my mother the other day, to where we have a culture to where when you turn a certain age, you're out of the house, you're on your own, go live your own life, right?
Yeah.
If you go to other cultures, the family stays together forever. I mean, it's like they live together. So well, hold on, let me go through this. So it's like what we're doing is
making people independent.
The family values are gone. The family, if we all live together, let's say you and I are brothers, and we lived at home. It didn't matter if you're 18 or 30. I mean, we live together. That's what our family was the most important thing, right? And something like that happened, what would happen? Abortion wouldn't even come up. And I don't know the answer to this, but I bet other cultures, the abortion rate is not even considered like it is in the United States.
Don't reference me on this, but I think the average age of, I know, I believe most Asian families stay together
100%. I got one of my
some time.
One of my good friends I grew up with. We moved from the Boot Hill of Missouri up here, and I was in 5th grade, and his name was John Yin, John Burke now, and he's here in Springfield. Great family. His family owns some restaurants here in town and stuff, and a lot of people know him. And hey, John, how you doing? Shout out to you. But anyway, his family and stuff like that. It was interesting when we were kids. When we go to his family, we had to take our shoes off if we walked inside their house. I mean, their culture was a lot of respect, things like that. Now they you still have problems. Everybody has problems and stuff. But I think what my point is, I think what's happened is that the family values in the United States and what the government's doing is that how they don't promote that. They're promoting individualization.
It's just not the government. You think about this. And I find myself doing this in my own house. My wife puts me in checkmate every once in a while, even when we were going to the pumpkin patch, because I was
trying to go on the adult line. You should have gone.
Well, no, I was still bitching about how sore my feet were on the.
No, sir. You're not tall enough to ride this ride. It's a hay ride.
Well, I was complaining about just my feet hurting at Disney World, right? So she, a couple days or whatever, and that's not like me because I'm ready to have fun. But she tells me, she says, Kyle, or sends me some clip, right? It's all video, right? She sends me a video. I watch it, and it's a dad bashing moment type thing, and I'm like, shit, she's right, My daughter only is going to be 2 one time in her entire life. I'm sitting here bitching about what should be the most magical time. You're at Disney World, right? So she throws that at me, and I'm sitting there thinking, But the world has gotten so fast and all about everybody, you as an individual, that you stop. I mean, when was the last time you actually sat down and it wasn't a holiday? You sat down with your family on a regular basis and you sat at a dinner table and you discuss your day.
we used to do it
right?
I used to do
I
it
grew
every
up
Sunday.
that way.
Yeah,
I grew up that way.
We had 3 squares a day when we lived in Portersville, Missouri. God bless my mother; she had 7 children, and we would have 3 squares a day. And when I say, that's the military talking, but it's we'd have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it was a full course meal, and we all sat at a table. And she cooked all day long, and she for all of us, and we sat down there and.
We did that too, and
nobody does that anymore.
We had family friends that would show up
100%.
every day at our house.
Absolutely.
On Fridays, we were playing some kind of card game or poker game and stuff.
You had a big family too, right?
Huge family, yeah. Well, I was the last 2 of 10 children from
so
my
it's
father.
big family. That's what I'm talking about. So, I think what's happened is that we've moved in this phase of everything else matters, but your family.
You're making everybody so independent that they don't think they need anybody.
My mother-in-law and my father-in-law, Carrie's parents that live in Branson, are wonderful people, great people. And my mother-in-law, her father was and her name's Beth. And correct me if I'm wrong, Beth. I know she watches this, but she was a colonel, okay, and a retired colonel. And every Easter, every Christmas, and every Thanksgiving, we have a full course sit down dinner. I mean, and when I say full course, I'm talking, man. They're cooking and they're doing, and it's not. I mean, it's Thanksgiving. It's a turkey, then it's beef or something. I mean, it's full course. It's all laid out. We're in a formal dining room, and we're sitting down and having dinner, and we're all talking, and we've been doing this, and before
have some traditional dishes.
Everything was everything. And we
have
just
a
sit
traditional drink.
Yeah, we sit there and we'd all sit there and we talked. I mean, the football games on over there in the deal, but we're all sitting around talking. Beth to me is just a sweetheart of a lady. Now she's a staunch Democrat, okay?
Yeah.
And we have our differences. We don't, but here's the thing.
Does that mean she's not ever going to talk to you again?
No, she loves me to death. And that's the thing. We don't agree on certain things, but we're family first, okay?
So I grew up in a household, and my family is pretty open. I mean, I could tell you stories for days of stuff because, trust me, my brothers and sisters didn't pave the best path for me. But it was kind of cool because my mom and dad were 23 years apart in age, right? So there's a variation in just.
So who's older? Who's older?
My dad. He was,
So he
robbed the cradle.
I mean, he kind of went after that. So think about that.
Yeah. I can tell you stories for days. So, but
I mean, when he was 40, she was 20.
Yeah.
Your dad's my hero.
He was 51 when he had a miracle.
Which was not you.
I can't take full credit. I shared it with a twin brother, but the deal is that my mom and dad were pretty traditional. My mom, during the holidays, the house was, Halloween, it was
decorated,
over decorated. Christmas, it was over decorated.
So you remember all those things, right?
So what's going to happen when we make these people so independent that they don't need anybody, right? And I get the independency thing. I love that. I wanted that for a long time. But what's going to happen when we make these people so independent? They're so independent that they don't need all these people. And then someday they're really going to need them.
I'll tell you.
I'll
tell
look
you
at stats, right?
Well, I'm gonna tell you
Suicide's higher than it's ever
Well, I'm
been.
going to tell you right now what's happening. My family, we grew up close. My parents got divorced.
Yeah.
Okay? And my family is all over the United States, and we don't get along. I've got two brothers. I've got one brother I haven't talked to in probably 10 to 12 years. They don't want to talk to me. I've got another brother that doesn't want to have anything to do with me. My family wasn't invited to two of his children's weddings. I've got a sister that wasn't invited. I mean, I don't think about this, but this is let me kind of go through this, and I'm gonna make a point about something. So my parents get divorced, and it splits the family, right? So you've got, and they get
which is a hard decision for them to make.
So now it splits the kids because you've got, the kids go over here. There's no leadership now. Now the family's broken up. There's no leadership. And so now
role models divide it, right?
100%. I mean, 100%. And
you're going to go with the person that best agrees with you.
Well, I mean, when we were kids, we went with Dad. Dad brought us to Springfield, and then Dad was a teacher, and there's four of us, and in the beginning, I'll be honest, we were hicks from the boot hill, and I was getting in fights all the time to try to get along with people, and then these things happened, and then it's just a bunch of turmoil and stuff. And my other brothers and sisters, they all went to boarding school, so you go to boarding school. Where do you really get along? Where do you figure out everybody out is in high school, right? Is your brothers and sisters, you go through that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we're all gone.
And very few of them are going to hang on to you for life.
So
right?
they're all gone. My family's all gone. And we, to this day, we can't all get together. We can't have, and back when they were married, we had the best Christmases, the best Thanksgivings. We would have, and everybody got along. We had fun. We'd laugh and joke.
But you're scuffle butting about nothing, and you're all going to die.
And
the same way.
Yeah, nobody.
I mean, you're going to die in different ways, but the end result is death, right?
And it's sad. It's a sad thing.
And that's why I say, so when you're growing up in a good environment, a healthy environment, I consider myself coming from a good family. We weren't rich, we weren't poor. I never felt like had to need something, but I also never experienced a deal where just dad hands me a credit card, hey, go buy what you want, scram kid, do that thing. I felt a lot of joy and love around my household, okay? But there was this eager inside of me, like I wanted to be the first kid to go to college in my family, right? And there was an eager for me to fight to get some of that independency. There was a drive that came with that. So you give somebody that's 8 years old, we're moving back to this topic. You give somebody 8 years old all the independency in the world, what do they have to look forward to?
Well, first off, let me ask you this question. This is controversial. We'll probably get some calls on this. You tell me what 8-year-old in true life is going to sit there and think that they're gay or that they need to become a man to a woman or a woman to a man.
Well, sure.
I mean, come on. I mean,
I don't even know. I mean, I don't think that. And I'd say this. I had sex at now looking back, probably a fairly young age, right?
Well, by yourself doesn't count.
No, that's exploring at that point, right? I mean, anybody that walks in on you is going to go, oh, he's exploring, right? That's how they're going to
Well, you always lock the door.
They're going to say, family friend, hey, he's exploring. But here's the deal, okay? I feel like now looking back, like I don't want my daughter to experiment in sexual activity.
Well, but here's the thing.
At the age that I did.
Well, here's what's crazy.
But I was well above 8 years old.
Okay, I understand. But here's what's crazy. Where do all these ideas come from? I mean, if you think about it's
the surroundings.
Well, it's media, it's TV, it's social media, it's the phones,
it's making it. Everybody makes it too. So when I grew up in my house, all right, my dad would always say there's 3 things you're not supposed to talk about in conversation, in mixed company, right? You should never talk about politics, okay? You should never talk about religion, and you should never talk about sex. And that was very hard for me because I'm an extrovert, right?
And you were sexual, apparently.
And I'm very independent. Okay. And I'm very strong in what I personally believe is right. And I'm very open about that. And I have to bite my tongue sometimes. But I understand now why, right? You shouldn't decide friendship over somebody's political views, right?
No, we
But
should be able. You and
you
I
should be able to sit across the table and say,
have a
"Hey,
discussion.
Matt, I understand where you're coming from, but here's what I think." And you should be able to see both sides of the aisle, and that's not what's happened.
No, you should be able to. And you should be able to disagree with somebody, right, and not get mad. Mm-hmm. You should respect that person enough to where you say, you know what? I hear what you're saying. I don't agree with what you're saying. Okay, I respect what you're saying. I'm not going to do what you're saying. I disagree with it. I said, but if that's what you want to do, that's up to you.
But I will throw this out there. My wife, when she decides something, she's a bulldog. I mean, for a little 4 foot.
I think you're saying this because she watched the show.
4 foot, no, 4 foot. Not, I mean, she is a Trump fan.
Well, 100%. She's a Chiefs fan,
and
too.
she's doing, yeah, she is a Chiefs fan, and it is die hard with her. I don't know that she protects me in that kind of way.
Let me ask you a question.
She protects Donald Trump in that way.
Well, let me ask you a personal question. We're on this deal. She's pretty much a doctor, right? She's got education enough to be a doctor. She's just not, but she's up there.
Yeah, she can't screw a light bulb
Right.
in, but she can give you a shot.
She's a little smarter than that, Kyle.
Yeah.
What was her view on this? Because she's around that medically, right? She's around people. I mean, what was her view on that issue in Missouri?
Well, I think her and I probably are on the same page when it comes to that. Like, I'm not against gay people. I think,
people are human. I'm not against gay people, right?
I'm not going to go out and, that's just not my thing. But if it is somebody else's, but the whole trans thing and that conversation that goes on in our house, that's a popular thing, especially with her, the clientele that she's working around daily, and that's a huge topic for her.
100%.
And she's not for it. I mean, there's a certain, I don't know that you can put an age number on it, but there is a maturity level that comes along with making that decision. She doesn't practice in that, so she has no authority of what might go on past just somebody telling them that they need hormonal drugs and this is why. She questions it, like what decides what, and I don't understand that part. Like what ticks in somebody that says, hey, I'm a man now, I want to be a woman. I don't know. I almost think that it's a popularity thing. Like it's almost a fad. Like you were wearing, everybody sagged jeans or they wore tight jeans at some point in an era. And I think somebody that was some kind of iconic deal at some point influenced people to think, oh, you've got to be transsexual to fit in. And here's where I'll blame. Here's where I'll blame people as a whole, Democrats and Republican. We've been fighting so hard against each other that we forgot that everybody matters. And when you do that, when you forget that people matter on both sides, when you forget that, people start searching for a place to fit in.
Well,
that liberal party advertised, hey, it's okay if you're, have these weird thoughts that might be traditionally abnormal. You can come over here. And then they just fed off of it, and it was like a cult thing. And now they took something that should have been a small percentage of people with an issue. Obviously, they've got mental issues, right? If you want to change anything about your body, There's some mental thinking that goes behind that, right? There's some heart that goes behind that,
Sure.
right? So you want to do that, you've got to be a real serious human being, and they made it easier and okay for them instead of somebody having a conversation and go, "Hey, Matt, I get it, man. You were made fun of at school and all this stuff. Girls don't like you. I got that. Okay. I don't share the same thing that you did, but here, dude, I like you. I think you're funny and blah, blah, blah. Maybe we change the way you dress a little bit, right?" And I'll go back to this. People made it okay for people to be so independent and not be put in check a little bit. You got to be put in check in life.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to my faith about this and talk about that a little bit. I in the Catholic faith, and I'm not an expert in the Catholic Church or anything like that.
I'm going to let you talk about this. I'm going to use this.
Okay. In the Catholic faith, I'll talk to Brecken over here. Right, Brecken, why don't you just come over and sit down?
I'm here.
You can debate this a little bit because you're young, and we had this conversation the other day. So in the Catholic faith, right, we and Christians, right, Christ came down here. Christ died for us to be able to go to heaven, and before that, we didn't have that chance, right? Our sins had to be forgiven. God came down, and Moses got the 10 Commandments and got those rules. Well, we don't follow those very well. So Jesus comes down and says, "Okay, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go through this, and I'm gonna die for you, and I'm gonna go through pure hell, which is what he did, and I'm gonna die for you, so you can go to heaven, right? All I ask you is to do this: believe in me, right? Every human being is a child of God. Everybody, right, is a child of God, and that we should treat each other as a child of God, which means what? What does that mean?
We should all love each other.
100%. Doesn't matter.
Everybody's family.
Doesn't matter. So because of that, when someone makes a mistake, right? That's a good answer, dog. I like that.
I'm on it.
All right.
Kyle's back.
Because of that, when someone makes a mistake or someone has a belief and you don't agree with it, right? You tell them that I don't agree with it, but you don't just persecute the crap out of them to make them feel like crap to where they make bad decisions. And I think what's happened is if you listen to the media right now, right? So Trump wins this deal, right? And
You've got to a point where you've got to choose one side or the other.
Well, but that's not how it's supposed to be in Christianity. Christianity, here, I don't agree with abortion. Christianity, the Catholic Church does not believe in abortion. We believe that the birth of doesn't matter. When you have sex and you get pregnant at that pure moment, that's a child of God. Okay, hold on for a minute. And it's at that conception, that minute you're a child of God, right? And God is giving you that gift. That gift's from God, right? So now, where does that go back to? Now, I'm not a scholar, but if you go back to Adam and Eve, it was Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve. Okay, it's Adam and Eve,
correct.
And they didn't have children. They didn't understand what sin was until Eve ate the apple. Because when God says, "Don't do this," you can have whatever you want. They didn't even understand what sin was, right? Until Eve was tempted and then got from Satan and then ate the apple, and then all of a sudden they saw each other naked. But that deals, people think that stuff's true. So what happens is when you don't have faith and you don't have religion and you don't have you don't go in there and you kind of lose really what's important to me. This is the way I believe.
Hey, if you're not looking up to grandma and grandpa, you're not looking up to mom and dad, right?
Well, some of these people don't have mom and dad.
You don't have teachers that are influencing you in the right way, even though you might think they're wrong. They're trying to do their best, right? You don't have a higher power to question any move that you make, right? So you don't have God or any kind of other religion that you may or may not believe in, right? In this case, we're talking about not believing in a religion. You don't have some kind of outside figure like a preacher or priest to go talk to about issues and stuff like that. You become solely independent, right? Which is everybody wants this independency thing, but they kind of want it, right?
Well, hold on. I'm going to talk about that. You get the independent. God gave us a gift of free will, the best gift He could possibly. He goes, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the thing. He tells Adam and Eve this. Fine, you guys want to make your own decisions? Okay, no problem. I'm going to give you the decision of making free will. You and your descendants can make whatever decision that you want to make. I'm not even going to. Here's my rules, though. The 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
Here's my rules. But I will give you the freedom to make those decisions. And when you die, sends Christ down. When you die, right? Christ gave us the opportunity and died for us for forgiveness of our sins, right? Now, God gave us that. We were struggling with this. So God says, okay, I'm going to give you another option. So now when you to get to heaven, right? To go to heaven, you have to answer for what you did. And we are going to sin. There's no question about it. He knows that you're going to sin. But are you sinning and learning from those sins and getting better, or are you just sitting there saying, "Hey, you know what? I got the freedom of free will. Screw you." And I think that's what's happened to it's easier for everybody to sit there and say, "You know what? I don't believe in God. God's not real."
So
I'm going to sit there and do what I want to do. It's my body. It's my thing.
I'm going to bounce
screw all
off you
this
of this for one thing. I'm going to bounce off of this, right? So I understand. You and I both are, Christians at heart. We pray. We do godly things. We made mistakes, right?
We still do. We still will.
We've sinned, right? So my wife asked me one time. I had a Donald Trump. This is 2 terms ago. Had a Donald Trump bobblehead that sat on my desk. And she said, "Kyle, what are you doing?" Right? And she loves Donald Trump. I mean, trust me, if it was between Donald taking a bullet and Kyle taking a bullet, I believe my wife would
Push you?
Well, yeah, she either pushed me or probably jump in front of Trump. But she said, "Why would you have that on your desk when you know that not everybody believes the same way you do?" And my word to her is that I would never not sell a car or do business with somebody who was a liberal or Democrat or whatever they believe in, right? Green Party, whatever religion, atheists, if you're atheist, I would always do business with you, right? That has nothing to do with me and the transaction that I'm making. So if somebody walked in my office and they saw a Donald Trump figure on my desk, knowing that I was probably a supporter and they did not want to do business, I was okay with that. Because they chose not to do business with me. I didn't choose.
It's free will.
I didn't choose to do business with them. And yeah, I mean, my wife and I disagree. You're my business partner, right? We have disagreements on things, right? I don't know one person in my life at some point I haven't disagreed with, but it's okay because I still love you all the same.
Well, but you shouldn't be attacked before your belief. Like there shouldn't be a fearful type attack, and that's what's happened in my opinion on the Democratic side, and on the Republican side too, on both of them. It's gotten so. I mean, it's gotten so bad to where they're personally attacking everybody instead of sitting there getting down on the issues and sitting there saying, okay, hey, you may not agree with what I agree with, but this is what we're going to do. But it all boils down to money. I mean, the reason this stuff's happening is because of money. And if you watch,
So
if
what's
anybody-
the biggest thing in the Bible,
well,
right?
it's greed. So, well, the 7 deadly sins, right? And so, I mean, God has given us the direction. Said, okay, hey, here's the 7 deadly sins. You better not do them, right? Here's the 10 commandments. You need to stay close to these rules.
And every time, by human nature, we push the envelope.
100%, because He gave us a gift of you make the decision. But you know what? I don't want you to judge your brothers and sisters because you are all children of God. I'll judge you when you and I are going to have a conversation when we get to heaven. So what do people do? They disassociate themselves with heaven or God. They say it's easier for them to say, hey, it's not real. So now I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to take. That's not real.
And then when the afterlife presents itself, they're going, oh, crap.
They're going to be right. They're going to be judged. So
if you believe the way that we believe.
100%. Now I'm going to, 100%. And so I disagree with a lot of things the left is doing, but you'll never see me hammer down on somebody. And like Beth, I love her to death. She's my mother-in-law, like I said, and I'd die for her. I would go to war for her. She has done so much for my family. Her daughter Carrie, and her daughter Carrie is her stepdaughter. She's been more of a mother to Carrie than her own mother has, and she's a great human
bold.
being.
You want this on there?
No, I'm being serious. I mean, we don't even hear from her mom. I mean, and it is what it is. I can't. I'm not judging her mom for it. It's her mom's decided to make that decision. That's on her. She's gonna have to live with that.
Right.
But it's sad. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to have them be a part of it, but they're not. And Carrie's upset about it. But you know what? It is what it is. But I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not gonna sit there because she believes this way and I believe this way. We're not gonna have.
You're eating a turkey, man.
Yeah.
You're still eating a turkey.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's just sad. Nobody else can do that. They're so mad about Trump because they're scared of him, that he's going to actually.
Well, here, I mean, I'll be quite. I mean, I've been pissed off for 4 years, right?
Well,
but I had to live with it.
Well, Biden. Here, not all the things Biden did was bad. Biden did some good things. There's some things that they've done and laws that they've passed have been okay. There have been.
Yeah.
But we don't ever talk about the good. What's the news always
It's
talk
always
about?
about the bad. That's right.
That's all it is. You go. Hey, who murdered who? Who cheated?
That's why I listen to people like Elon Musk and Joe Rogan. I follow those guys. I like those guys. I think they're very. I'm an RFK Jr. fan. I grew up kind of a JFK type Democrat.
JFK was a stud, man.
So
but we killed him.
Yeah,
that's coming out. By the way.
But I think and I think there's a lot of higher up people in the Republican.
But so what's driving this? It's the money and the greed of power. And so the American people, what they did is, in my belief, in this election,
they stood up against it.
They stood up against it because and they showed everybody and said, okay, we're tired of it. And you're already seeing, and they think it's Trump being a bully. It's not. It's the American people sitting there saying, hey, I'm tired of. I know we got to go and we're going to finish this. I'm going to tell you something. I've got a special needs child. He's 20 years old, Colton, right? 20 years old. Okay. He's qualified for some certain funds and stuff like this, right? Well, those funds got taken away because of this thing that's going on in Ukraine, and every state has to pay the federal government their funds. That's where it comes from, to pay for the decisions.
Yeah, 100%.
That the president does. Well, how the state of Missouri decided to pay for it was to take $80 million out of the special needs fund. For it doesn't matter what age group they are, out of Missouri, to help pay for their portion, because that's where they didn't have any other place to take the money from. So now that's affected my son, right? Now that's a Republican governor making that decision.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? I mean, he had to make that decision, right?
And a primary majority Republican,
100% Senate
backing.
So they had to do that. So my question is okay. So you've got Russia going into Ukraine. Would that have happened with Trump?
Well, no. I mean, Trump's not known for any wars.
Right. So that decision
Or
because we had because
majority of wars are never.
because we had a weak
Republican
policy. We had a weak policy in the United States. That's affecting me, and I'm a Republican. That's affecting my family, right? Because and with the Republican, that's affecting my family personally because of that. So now we can't afford to have, they're going to have someone come in and help my wife take care of Colton. Now that doesn't happen, right? So
Sure.
it's $400 a week. Now it's expensive.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I really think I'm optimistic though. I'm optimistic about the next 4 years, thinking that people are going to probably settle in. Right? I mean, it was a landslide win. So obviously we've got more people on the same page than we think.
How about,
and there's some weirdos on the far right
On both
that I don't
sides.
agree with. But for the majority of it, yeah, I'm looking forward to like Elon Musk. I mean, he's a smart dude being
how
a part of
about we
that deal.
concentrate on making the United States? We take care of our homeless.
Better.
We take care of
Yeah.
we keep our money here. We keep the jobs here. We yes, we have immigrants coming in, and that's going to happen. It's the land of the free, but we can't have the drug lords coming in and bringing drugs in, and we have to vet those people. You can't just walk across the border and sit there and let all these people come in here and
say I'm here.
Right, you got to sit there and say no problem.
Set up
We're gonna
camp, start eating dogs.
we're gonna let you come in, but we have to sit down. You have to go through a process. The world is too small anymore. We've got so many people, and everybody's criticizing everybody about, hey, you know what, it's just a mess, man. I don't know, and this has been a kind of a crazy podcast tonight.
But we're gonna have to wrap it up here.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna sit here and stare at the camera for the next hour.
We'll wrap it up. Matt can continue to keep talking, but I got a 2-year-old I got to go tend to. So
That's
I will
7.
tell you this, though, everybody that's out there that's listening to the podcast, I mean, this is probably one of the more in-depth political style podcasts we probably had on this show. And we could probably go on.
It's only one
We
we've
could
ever
probably go on for 2 hours, but
But I will tell you this.
I guarantee you, we both love you no matter how you vote.
100%. I will tell you this. It's great right now. You can see you can feel the positivity. We were busy today. We've been busy since this election crap's been over.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And it's been
there's a lot
phenomenal.
of good signs, but we're not even there yet. I mean, January 20th is when it all really kind of unfolds and starts.
Yeah, we're going into Thanksgiving.
But I think there's some relief and optimistic things that are happening right now. And we just need to keep it going. And hopefully, I've got some friends. My wife gets mad at me. I don't delete anybody off my Facebook. I'm more of the guy that's.
Yeah, I don't do that.
It's harder
I do
for
that.
me to put you as a friend on my Facebook than it is for me to delete you. And I'm okay with you having a different opinion on me because, I've got a lot more people that kind of on my Facebook that seem to kind of agree with me. So you look like the idiot on my wall when you post something stupid. But I would never give you the satisfaction of deleting you. I'm not going to do that. Once you're there, like in Kyle's life, once you're there, you're sticking there.
Yeah, but you've been deleted.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I've been deleted by a lot of people.
Ding.
But I'm not. Number one, I just don't have enough time to be that childish. But if you can't,
Well, it goes back to you.
if you can't respect that somebody has a different opinion than
Bingo.
you're gonna walk through life
Bingo.
in a very, very shallow, lonely place.
Bingo.
Because I can guarantee you, if you've been married for any length of time, you're
Now,
always going to have somebody that doesn't
Before we get out of here,
disagree
I
with
want to
you.
make an announcement.
What's that?
Mr. Kyle Orr. So, Kyle Orr, you decided that you're going to convert to Catholicism, right?
I am doing
So
that.
it's a long journey, and God bless you for doing it. So we're going to church, I think, tomorrow night. Is that right?
I believe so.
All right. So
Is
for
it
the
this
first time,
Saturday?
it's this Saturday. Church is every Saturday. Church is every day. But we're going to get you consistent. So we got to start with this Saturday. So we're going to have my family's going to take you to Mass. So, hey, I'm proud of you. That'd be a good thing for you and your family.
Absolutely.
All right. God bless everybody.